Hi there. My name is Andy Preston. This is my EDL 851 Module 8, Legal Aspects of Teacher Evaluations. We were given three articles to review. The first one was on the ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act. It talked about the removal of the federal government to teacher evaluations. Prior to this act, the federal government was heavily involved in teacher evaluations across the nation. These changes allowed states to become responsible for developing and creating new teacher evaluation systems. With the flexibility that districts and states had to choose from types of teacher evaluations and new support structures to increase performance levels of teachers, and that were better suited for their evaluations of these teachers. Our state in Kansas also has a mentoring program attached for new teachers into the profession. The teacher evaluation heads to the courts was the second article, and this article was talking about how new evaluation methods haven't been proved to be just or appropriate. Many state unions are contesting the new methods that are being applied from ESSA, and this has led to many state and federal court cases. Currently, we have 7 cases within the last 5 years, and these cases have resulted in many adaptations and amendments for state evaluation systems. We're talking about like test scores being linked to teachers' ability or their evaluation, how well the students do. Students with or schools with students that have low socioeconomic levels or a large amount of poverty. New York State was one of those states that their union was fighting this case for the poverty being unjust for the teachers to teach the students that come from a background of poverty. And then pay scale being determined for your evaluation and tenure process linked to evaluation has been somewhat controversial as well recently. The third article that I read was the teacher evaluation overview. And this was talking about how evaluations in the past, like the majority of the evaluations, teachers were just being held as satisfactory. 1% of the teachers were not meeting satisfactory levels. The federal government thought this was an issue, and so they started making enticements and creating grants to attract changes to be made by the states. We all know that when grants are given, money is given by the federal government. Many public institutions and districts will take them up on that and take their money to abide by what the evaluations the federal government want to have in their districts. So, while states still have a choice and districts still have a choice, the government still has their hand in the bag. New teacher evaluations now, because of these grants, they're more complex. I can agree with that 100%. There's a lot more observations, new standards being used, more teacher-based standards, and the federal government also imposed you have to use student test scores in some manner. This is all true in the state of Kansas and my district in Newton, USD 373. That's 100% true with the new system we use. The union response to this is that validity and consistency of evaluations and the test scores for all teachers is, how can this be fair for all teachers? There's not a cookie cutter method for an art teacher in grade school or a PE teacher at the high school level if they don't, have test scores for students as compared to a math teacher at the high school level. It's just even comparing evaluations for grade school students and high school or grade school teachers and high school teachers, there's not consistency. So the evidence is unclear. It's insufficient. We're too early in this process. The sample size is still too small to really have any evidence or understanding of what's going on. The evaluation process in USD 373, where I teach, is based on 2 types of teachers. There's probationary and career. Probationary, you're new to the district, so you're evaluated for the first 3 years. You have 6 formal observations per year. If you leave the district and come back, you're back to probationary status. I did that. I left the district, though, 3 years ago. I came back. I went back to probationary status, even though I'm in my eighth year of teaching right now. So you have to go back to probationary status. Career teachers, that's 3 years of experience or more in the district, or they've already been evaluated 3 consecutive years and they've passed probationary status. So now they go on a cycle of every 3 years they get evaluated, which consists of four formal evaluations per year. Our observation process is pretty simple. We have the pre-observation, observation, post-observation artifacts. Pre-observation, you meet with the administrator, go over the self-assessment, talk about what lesson you're going to teach, some of the evaluation process, and you sign off on paperwork. The observation is simple. It's 45 minutes at length. You get a prior notice for the first one, and all the rest of them have to be done by the 12th week of each semester. And then the post-observation, we come in and talk with the administrator about the lesson, sign off on the evaluation, the rubric, and then artifacts or something we can add with. We use a program called Macrel, or our evaluation system is called Macrel, so we can add artifacts that show what we're doing, that can meet the teaching standards as well. If you have an accurate or an unjust evaluation, you can write explanations of the standards in the summary. You can acknowledge with comments in our system. You can dispute your evaluation with your administrator. And then if you don't agree, you have a 10-day process where another review will be completed. If you believe it's inaccurate, after that 10-day review, you can file a grievance with the NEA in our school district. You can also submit a grievance to the superintendent for review. Same thing can apply for due process. If you're released from your job, you can file a grievance with the union or local union NEA and the superintendent to review. The court case I looked at was Leff versus Clark County School District. This is a 2011 case allowing the schools to fire tenured teachers with 2 consecutive annual ineffective ratings for evaluations due to due process hearing. The union was basically saying, this isn't fair because the teachers that were tenured earlier should be grandfathered into the law, and it should not apply to them, and they should not be terminated without due process, since they're changing the system while these teachers were currently tenured. So right now the court case is still being disputed. It hasn't been dismissed. The litigation is still going on. Like I said, the local union thinks they're vested into their rights, and this is prior contract negotiations that cannot be revoked for teachers that came into this system. Now, for new teachers, they agree that these teachers can be fired due to ineffective teaching. Reflection for future evaluations. I think what I learned from this was evaluations are very subjective in many areas. You must be objective and fair as an evaluator. Your goal should be to have expectations for growth and improvement from your teachers. They should meet a standard, set forth by your school district and your superintendent and your head administrators, what you want done in your school, or what you want approved, or what you guys want done. And the potential issues are obviously the conflicting areas where you have a non-renewal situation or a terminating situation where you need to understand the law, what your district policies are, and how to follow protocol, and work with that teacher where you don't have to get in that situation, or if that is deemed what needs to happen, that you handle it with the right way. So thank you for following my presentation. Have a great day.